Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you may be. Welcome to another issue of 7th grade science at Ace Academy. Welcome to the jungle, folks. As you can see from my little picture up here in the upper right-hand screen, I am in Auburn's Arena, where our world famous, or at least SEC famous Tiger basketball team has been playing the heck out of the game the last couple of years. And would have made it again high into the NCAAs had those actually occurred, but unfortunately it didn't, but you get the picture anyway, supporting my team. So today, 7.P.2.4, again, simple machine taking, we're gonna finish it off today. I can recognize that simple machines make up a compound machine. As you can see on the screen here, it says it's a compound machine, a machine made from more than one simple machine. Well, that sounds kind of easy to deal with, right? Only one simple machine. So examples of compound machines. I'm gonna go over here and I've got some things prepared, so I'm gonna copy that, bring it over here, and paste it. Let's see if this works. Yay, it does. Awesome. Love it when technology comes together. So as you can see right here, we have a pair of scissors. And a pair of scissors, as it's labeled here, have more than one simple machine. So the actual blade, we'll start over here with the wedge. So the blade of a scissor is the simple machine titled a wedge. So remember, a wedge is simple something that comes down to a point. It's designed to separate materials. Well, in the case of the scissors, this is a very narrow point, and the object it's designed to separate is paper or fabric or whatever else you want to cut with scissors. Electrical cords when you're 5, okay, whatever. But this point's very sharp, and that's what a wedge looks like. It's used to cut things. So here we have a wedge, which is one type of simple machine. So then, as it says right here, we have a lever, and our fulcrum is our balance point. So we have a lever that looks like this. It's got a fulcrum right there in the middle. So we apply a load on this end, and then this end moves up secondarily, right? So as we push this down, this moves up, and then as we pull this up, this one moves down. And so what type of lever is the fulcrum in between the force or the load and the resistance? As a first-class lever. So a scissors is a pair of first-class levers bound at the fulcrum with a pair of wedges on the blades out here on this end of the lever. So that is the example, one example of a compound machine. Again, compound machine is a machine that's made up of more than one simple machine. Clear all our drawings here, and we'll move on to the next thing. There, here. Look, our next simple machine, oh, guess what, is a wheelbarrow. Let me go look at our wheelbarrow here. And again, it's already, here's our beam. Here's the fulcrum right here. There's our effort over here. And the load is in the middle. So when you have the fulcrum here, the load in the middle, and the effort here, what type of lever is that? That is a class 2 lever. So you're like, hey, wait a minute, there's only one simple machine highlighted there. Oh, wait, what is this thing right here? That is the fulcrum. It is a wheel and axle, isn't it? The tire on the thing is a wheel and axle, thereby making the wheelbarrow a compound machine. So we have two things. We have a lever and then a wheel and axle, a compound machine. Funny thing is, if you think about it, there's a reason this thing looks like this, but again. Now, the more you want to lift with this load thing, you can actually extend higher, the longer you make these handles, the less effort it takes to get this up off the thing. but then you still have to push it. So there's a limit to what you can lift and push at the same time. So that's why wheelbarrows are pretty much get as big as they get, and then you don't see bigger wheelbarrows. So clear all drawings, turn the drawings off, come down here. So those are two particular types of simple machines. Lastly, we're gonna look at another one here. Let me look at another one. So we look at this thing. What we call this, typically it's called a pizza cutter, but you can cut all kinds of different stuff with it. And as it's so pointed out here, it's got a lever, it's got a wheel and axle, and it's got a wedge. So we look at this again. There we go. Annotate. So we have our lever here. And so if we just imagine this thing as, here's the lever, right? So we're lifting on this end, right? To put weight to come down here so we can chop and slice our pizza. So that puts the fulcrum somewhere in the middle, right? So what type of lever is that one? Again, that's a class 1 lever. Your effort, fulcrum, and your load. Fulcrum being between the effort and the load. So now it's got a wheel and axle. Big circular cutting disc, joint in the middle, so it will actually spin. So you can have a disc-shaped thing, but if it doesn't spin, then it's not a wheel and axle, it's just a disc. And then you have a wedge, once again, wedge. A wedge that is usually a blade, your blade type thing. So whether it's a razor blade, whether it's this thing that cuts stuff or whatever, anytime you see something that's a blade type situation, usually you're dealing with a wedge. Can you deal with a blade that looks like this? That's flat on one side and got an angle on the other. Yeah, you sure could. But in that case, your wedge, it wouldn't be a wedge. It would almost be an inclined plane as far as the shape goes. But again, remember, wedges are meant for splitting things apart, whereas an inclined plane is usually typically talked about as, getting some object that's heavy from a lower space to its upper space. But they can still look like this. Funny thing is, wedges can be seen as, wedges can be seen as simply two inclined planes back to back. So there's one inclined plane, there's two inclined planes, you back them, and suddenly you got this thing called a wedge. It usually has a body on it, I feel like this. And that's what, usually provides a cutting edge for things like pizza cutters and scissors and stuff like that. So those are compound machines. So now, compound machines exist in all forms of things that we do in our life on a regular basis. So what we're going to see is, I want you guys to go out and find 4 different compound machines. You're going to figure out what they are, and you're going to take some random piece of paper. And in classroom, we would have been using copy paper, but for this case, you're going to take a sheet of normal paper, whether it's notebook paper, copy paper that you have at home, or something else. You cannot cut and paste this and use a doc on the internet. You can use a editing thing that allows you to draw like this and draw some drawings. That's fine. I want you to find and draw 4 different compound machines and label them like this one is labeled. Let's clear all this off. So you would label it like this. Please don't use this as an example, please. But you would label it like this after you drew it. So if you drew the horrible thing here, there's the axle, you got the handle coming off, there's the guard, and then said, wheel and axle, wedge, lever, Right there. Wow, that's a horrible G, isn't it? Close it off. Wedge. So as crude as that drawing is, I guess, that would be the minimum acceptable thing. I imagine a lot of you guys are just going to want to draw this with a pencil on a piece of paper, make it actually nicer looking than that. And again, once you do that, you can shoot a picture of it, screenshot it, however you want to get it, and then get it submitted and turned in. So you can text that to me if it's on, phone. You can email it to me, r.brenneman@aceacademycharter.org, or you can screenshot it and turn it in off of your device through Google Classroom. Either way, make sure when you send it to me, you're I'm not saving you guys by phone yet in my phone. So make sure you say, hey, this is so and so. Here's my drawing when you send it to me. But that's perfectly acceptable as well. So anyway, great. Another quick lesson here, but again, once we get used to these things, we'll day to day. This gets a little more interesting, a little different. Make sure you like me, subscribe to my channel here. Make sure you like this and make sure you comment, hey, I saw the video down below, so that you get credit for being in class today. All right. So great day. I want to see everybody here. I want to see every single body, in 7th grade commenting on this. Nothing crazy and outrageous, but hey, I was here. Definitely to carry us out for the day. And we'll see you again tomorrow.